You know, I think that the pork pie sits historically as one of our greatest foods that this country has ever created. It's made from an artisan recipe, it's made with passion, it's regional, it's got everything you could possibly want in a recipe. Peter from Pork Farms. Nice to see you, Peter.
Nice to see you,
welcome.
Richard.
And you're going to talk us now through the delicate art of creating the ultimate pork pie. Nothing complicated or artificial about these ingredients, Peter, are there?
Absolutely.
I mean, what have we got here? This is just pure flavour simplicity.
We've got some lovely pork shoulder, fresh pork back fat, salt, black pepper, and some lovely pork stock bone jelly. Of course, mince the pork and the fat, add the stock and the seasonings to make these lovely patties that go into the pork pies. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make the hot water pastry. We'll start off with our flour and then a generous amount of salt. We have our water and lard. We take it to around about 50 degrees C, make sure that all of the fat is evenly distributed in the water. And now we're going to add this very, very slowly to the flour.
And what makes this different from a short crust pastry really is the, I guess, the water content, isn't it? There's a lot more water in it.
Here we need a very, very silky smooth pastry, so that's why we've melted the fat in with the water. And when we come to amalgamate all the flour and the water and the lard together, we'll have a really lovely, soft, smooth, silky dough.
Great.
We're just going to put that to one side and rest that for about 30 or 40 minutes. The pastry, as you can see now, is a little bit more solid. It's had that nice time to rest. We're going to cut and form some fillets into the correct size that we want. We gently press the dolly down, very gently.
Yeah.
And then we take the pastry around like this.
You make it look so easy there, Peter. I've got to tell you.
It is.
Peter, people tend to think there's only one sort of pork pie, but there's actually loads of different versions.
We actually make 3 different types of pork pie, and people probably don't understand that we do that. We make the sweet cure, which you talked about, which is a cured meat, and we cure that with salting. It's preferred a lot by women and children because it's not too strong and peppery. And then there's what we call the original pork pie, where this is using non-cured meat. It's more of that sort of savoury, roasty pork flavour, where we add a little bit more seasoning and a little bit more jelly just to make it have that better kick. And then we make the Vintage Melton Mowbray pie, which is using lovely premium coarsely chopped pork, very well seasoned, lots of black pepper and a bit more salt and loads of jelly, pork stock jelly. Okay, so now we've got our lids and we've got our pastry cases, and the exciting bit now is we're actually going to make our Melton pies.
Yes.
So we've got a lovely coarse chopped pork and coarse chopped pork back fat, and within this we've added some pork bone stock jelly and quite a lot of black pepper and salt. Then what we do is just bring all this together like this.
This is just fantastic.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is just take a little bit of beaten egg, and just like any pies that you make, just put a little bit around the edge.
The egg wash basically acts as the glue for the lid.
Absolutely,
yeah.
right, yeah. Put your lid on there and we're going to gently mould it all the way around and crimping all the time to form that perfect seal so none of that pork or juices can escape. All this is a needle, and what we're going to do is we're going to put quite a large hole in the centre of the pie, so because that's raw meat in there, there's going to be a lot of steam generated, so we want all that steam to come out and so it doesn't blow the top of the pastries.
Something that I've salivated over for years when it's been other people's, fantasised about making my own, and here it is in the oven. We'll go back and rest in the pub for half an hour. Coming out right now under the tuition of master pork pie maker Peter. Look at that. Who's the master pie maker here? I've got to say actually, Peter, yours does look better than mine. So it just leaves us to the final step, Peter, which is getting that wonderful molten jelly into those babies. I'm going to go here until it bubbles out the top, aren't I really? Let's go for jelly overload here. Okay, we'll get that in the fridge.
Yep.
Let it set, half an hour, 45 minutes. Now it's all about the tasting. This is the mild sweet cure, hence the pink meat.
Hence the pink meat, which is cured meat with salt solution and hardly any jelly. So it's a very mild, sweet, succulent flavour to the pie.
Beautiful. Well, I've brought along this pickle. First of all, it's got apple in it.
Yeah.
There's apple and pork.
Yeah.
Natural partners. It's not going to be too overpowering,
no,
but I think it's going to bring out the sweetness of the meat. And I think this is the wonderful thing about pork pies, is that you can use these traditional accompaniments to actually bring out the flavours.
That is lovely.
That is about as perfect batch as you can get, isn't it? We've got here a Leffe Blanc from Belgium. Those Belgian beers go fantastically well with pork dishes. So moving up the savoury scale here, this meat is great because it hasn't been cured.
Absolutely right, and it's this meat is slightly coarser, and it's the balance of seasoning. We've got a little bit more pepper and seasoning going on here, and more jelly.
Well, I've got a mustard here to go with this. This is Dijon. I'll tell you what, that mustard is big, it's powerful, but you still really taste the meat. In fact, it actually brings out those flavours in the meat. This is the original Pilsner Urquell from the town of Pilsner in the Czech Republic, where it came from. It's buttery, it's floury. So there's some intensity of flavour there, but also it's got these wonderful cutting and refreshing qualities to it. Foxy's Melton Mowbray. I better bring in the old Pork Farms Melton Mowbray, because clearly I'm a bit of an amateur.
Yeah, this is the Vintage Melton Mowbray pie, so you can see it's been baked in the oven without any support, so it's slumped. And the key difference is really between the one that we just eaten is this, it's a lot coarser pork, very lean pork, beautifully seasoned, and then got this lovely thick layer of jelly all around the outside.
This is Marston's Old Empire, with these big flavours we've got in the pie, with the big flavours that we've got in the piccalilli here. We need something really to complement that.
And that is fantastic.
That's actually like a liquid pork pie. To recap then, on the Pork Farm savoury scale, we've got the mild, sweet cure first of all. It's lightly seasoned, it's got minimal jelly, and it's got a subtle sweet cure. Moving on to the original. This is well seasoned with salt and freshly ground black pepper. It's baked in the hoop for dark, crispy pastry. Finally, moving on to the Vintage Melton Mowbray. This is coarse cut meat, it's got loads of jelly, it's well seasoned with black pepper, and it's baked in the traditional manner without the hoop. Absolutely sensational.